The rise in daily cases of COVID-19 has been reported again, with deaths, recoveries, and patients reportedly hospitalized. Over the past 24 hours, COVID-19 processing team data shows the addition of new cases of COVID-19. Um, the number has reached over 1 million in Indonesia. The same data showed a higher number of patients recovered from COVID-19. The number is increasing by 6,000 a day. As a result, the number of COVID-19 patients recovered so far in Indonesia has reached over 1 million. But the number of patients who died after exposure to COVID-19 is also increasing. Patients with COVID-19 were closed as April 2021. As a result, the death rate at COVID-19 has reached 43,000 since the beginning of the pandemic. The data now include 1 and 2 cases of COVID-19. Active cases are still positive for the coronavirus and treat hospital-independent isolation. In addition, the government have also recorded expenditure. 93,000 people are here now. This can happen due to several factors. The first one is people did not have health insurance because they didn't believe in COVID-19. The second, the number of samples tested has increased. 3. Sample data nullified due to regional verification. 4. It's a mine called contact trade that shows a new example in a place called concentration. So first, the most decisive factors come first. That's because many Indonesian societies are still not properly educated. One of the pandemics is an example of this point. This behavior shows that among the role models that should be able to educate the public, they are fatal. As a government team, I agree with the motion of the surge in the number of cases of COVID-19. The government have already implemented a mandatory mask system in red areas as well as wickedness. Research on masks shows that filtering viruses works better than face shield. The coronavirus is not just flying independently, but it's helping people sneeze, cough, and breathe. So, because the drop down is bigger than fabric fiber, the virus chooses both. Fabric is a minimum of 3 layers that can be used as a special fabric. Maskers also sneezes or coughs, and the stances are shortened. So, while wearing a mask, a moisture mean adding moisture. So, the largest than the size, the greater the number, and the greater the possibility. This protection, which P shield, uh, face shield, cannot have allow free flight drops to escape the bottom. Wearing a mask was a sense of responsibility that we had the same privilege in this pandemic issues. And all the public needs to know is that we need to fight COVID-19. Failure to comply with discipline will result in the government's effort in vain. Without that rule, COVID-19 was over. I'm sticking to this kind of fine so people can get their act together. Sanctions are designed to prevent infection with viruses that have not currently been found with drugs or vaccine. I think people I think people can make judgment about how health protocols are applied in public places because social order is especially important in preventing the contagion of COVID-19.
I don't know, I'm the only one person who reject the sanction by not wearing a mask. But for me, I reject it because masks are not the only way to prevent the spread of COVID. In fact, there are many ways to prevent it apart from using a mask. Some are keeping a distance from people around you, maintaining cleanliness such as washing hands or using a hand sanitizer, and also the most important thing is to maintain your stamina. Why? Because your stamina is number one, right? Among other things, by eating nutritious food, drinking vitamin, and you have to diligently exercising. And then some people feel wearing a mask is annoying. Some feel tight or difficult to breathe, and then cause hyperventilation or rapid breathing, and can cause CO2 level to drop, symptoms of lightheadedness, dizziness, and confusion. Using a mask from some people actually interferes with the activity. For example, a cosmetic SPG. How does she over her product if she use a mask? Because an SPG will be used their product to show as an example for sale. So, do you think the product will be sold? No, of course it will be a little difficult. For me, masks are necessary in preventing COVID, but not mandatory for certain people. So, I don't think there is a need for sanction if you don't use them. Because if you use a mask but your health is not maintained, it's useless.
I don't think so because actually wearing a mask is the initial step in preventing the spread of COVID-19. Because as we all know that the transmission of the coronavirus can be through droplets or splashes that are released when we cough or talk. And then transmission occurs when the splash is inhaled by other people who are around. Therefore, masks are made to protect from droplets released by other people from getting into our noses and mouths, so that our droplets do not hit other people, because we don't know that we or our interlocutors are carriers of the virus. And then, so masks are very important for current conditions. If someone does not comply with the health program by not wearing a mask, then it is very necessary to get sanctions. So get sanctions in the form of cash to buy masks so that they can be given to the community, or can also provide direct mask, because if they are not wearing a mask, that can be give a big effect for the life of many people in the future, with the current of the pandemic. Thank you.
I disagree with your line on must get a penalty in cash. If they make a move, you don't have to charge them. You might want to throw in the box. Not without cash. This is necessary because there is no other way to overcome communities that are ignorant of health protocol. They violated the lack of education on the importance of wearing masks. Ineffective things should be reprimanded or given social and educational work should be undertaken to make people understand the importance of using masks to protect themselves. Cannot impose penalties on citizens who break the rule of masks. Not everyone was willing to pay a fine, because in the governor rules, when society broke the rules or didn't wear a mask couldn't afford to pay the fine, he had another option: social work cleaning public facilities by wearing an hour-long vest. So it must be a 2-hour cleaning of public facilities, so on and on until a learning effect ends on the person who breaks them.